As it stands right now, December 11th, 11 a.m., as I'm recording this video, the Winnipeg Jets are first in the Central with 37 points. But not only are they first in the Central, they are in the league, fifth in the entire National Hockey League right now with their record, and are currently second in the entire Western Conference, only behind the Vegas Golden Knights, who I also should mention right now have 3 games in hand on the Jets. But yeah, things are looking pretty damn good to be a Jets fan right now. Not to mention the fact that, as of right now, the Winnipeg Jets have the best chance at winning the Stanley Cup according to Money Puck. And Money Puck, if you don't know, is a website that is notorious for hating the Winnipeg Jets. So what the hell is happening? Let's break it down a little bit and what's going on with the Jets. Why are they number one? So over the next couple days, we're going to be talking about elements of the Jets right now that are kind of keeping them at this spot, elevating to this play. And I got to start it off by talking about the 2 players that I didn't think were going to be Jets coming this season, and that is Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler. And this video is not going to be me going back on my words from last season and the year before that, because that stuff's all still relevant. The difference now between then is one simple element. Rick Bowness. And we're going to talk about this entire Winnipeg Jets first line right now that is Perfetti, Wheeler, and Scheifele, how good they've been. So if you haven't already subscribed, you don't know that much about the Winnipeg Jets, definitely drop a subscription right now. We're going to be breaking down why the Jets are near the top of the league, what's brought them success, and what's also caused the rebound and renaissance of Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler this year, as they currently are near the top of the Jets scoreboard. Right now, Blake Wheeler is 4th on the team in points. Mark Scheifele is right behind him at 6th, and these guys have been respectable, almost being at a point per game. Let's break it down and talk about this fantastic first line. So when you go over and you just look at the Jets right now, they're currently ranked 4th in the league, according with advanced stats right now. 1st in their division, 19th in the league for goals for, 5th in the league for goals against. Their power play percentage is 13th best in the league. Their finishing is 16th. Right now, the Jets got great numbers across the board. And when you look at this from last year, it's night and day. And not even that. You look at just Mark Scheifele's advanced stats. You know, you look at the increased play you're seeing from him. Mark Scheifele's advanced stats right now are as clean as they can get, honestly, when you look at him, other than his defensive rating. And even then, I don't care that it says 0. I've seen significant increase in Mark Scheifele's defensive play and back checking, with not just him going back to headhunt like he did with Jake Evans. That's the only joke I'm making about that, I promise. But Mark Scheifele has been incredible. And he always has been a good player, but in the last couple seasons, the attitude, the lack of care, it seemed like in his game, was really affecting my view of him as a player. And I really thought it was the Winnipeg burnout and, you know, a burnout of the locker room and what was going on in there, you know, with the rumors, with Paul Maurice and whatnot on the record. You look at this year, you look at just how he talked about Paul Maurice in his return game, you know, in his interview, you know, it's a return game, we wanted to win, let's get back to hockey. The attitude towards him has been, I don't give a shit about him anymore. And it says a lot about Mark Scheifele's character, because you can see how he's a better teammate, a better leader, and a better hockey player with Paul Maurice out of that room. You can't deny that when you look at what he was last year and the year before that, and then compare it to only, 26 games into this season so far, and he's night and day completely. And we haven't even started to talk about Blake Wheeler. Now, Blake Wheeler's advanced stats, I don't really give a shit about, because he's 36 years old. You know, he's not going to be some elite hockey player anymore that has perfect stats across the board. Age is going to affect you. But the thing with Blake Wheeler is that without this C, without this presence, his hockey is just better. You look at his finishing, his offensive ratings are up, his WAR is up. Everything right now that's important with Blake Wheeler's game where he was last year, and especially his finishing being up 11% from where it was last year, that says a lot about his game. I haven't seen Blake Wheeler be out there playing like this in a long time. This is without a doubt a Blake Wheeler renaissance year, for a lot of different reasons. You know, this is a guy that, for better lack of, I don't even know how to describe him. Like, this is a guy that nobody really wanted on this team. You know, especially me. I thought Blake Wheeler was the biggest cancer in the world. And to be honest with you, I think he still was. But I don't think that it was all him anymore. Which is, I never thought I would. I thought that it was Blake Wheeler was running the show. Paul Maurice was allowing him to do that. It feels like now that Paul Maurice was forcing Blake Wheeler into a role that he had no interest in ever being in. It really comes down to simple facts that Blake Wheeler is playing good hockey right now because he's had a weight lifted off his shoulders. It's the only explanation for it. Same with Mark Scheifele. The Paul Maurice effect, it's real in Florida. You're seeing it, and now you're seeing what happens when you take away Paul Maurice from these guys and you give them the ability to have success. You know, we haven't even really jumped into the points or even Cole Perfetti. Cole Perfetti, his stats really don't really matter, advanced stats, so I'm going to throw him up, take a look at him. it is what it is, right? Nothing special, you know. He's really his first year as a full-time NHLer. I know last year he had that, you know, whatever, but this is Perfetti's real first season, in my opinion. This is his rookie year, so his stats are still really good, and he's elevating that line. You know, Blake Wheeler I thought Cole Perfetti and Blake Wheeler wouldn't really mesh well together, but it's like yin and yang with him. You know, you got this older veteran guy that plays very similar to Perfetti's game, teaching him the ropes, and it's working extremely well. And not only is it just working well with the advanced stats and the overall play you're getting from these lines, let's jump over a little bit and just talk about the stats you're getting from Blake Wheeler. Look at these stats right now. 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points in 26 games played, 1 point shy of a point per game. Last year he had 17 goals in 65 games. If he keeps this up this year, he's going to pass that. A year older. His point total, I think, will be higher this year as well from last year, with only 60 last year with 65. Blake Wheeler is having an absolute renaissance year. The team is embracing him. The team's embracing his role as not being the captain anymore. He's thriving under it. Mark Scheifele as well. Mark Scheifele last year still had 70 points, you know, out of everything. He was still a good player. He was over a point per game, but his attitude in defensive play made him a complete lack I don't even know, I can't even describe really honestly what Mark Scheifele was last year, because he was great offensively. Defensively, he would allow more goals as he would score. He just was not a good team player last year. He did not have an attitude of a guy that wanted to stay here, especially in his exit interviews. And then you look at this year, and it's night and day. This guy looks like the potential future captain again. I never thought Mark Scheifele would earn that respect again from me to be the future captain of the Winnipeg Jets, but he absolutely has. And Mark, I'm going to say it right now, and to Blake as well, I'm sorry that I judged you guys' play as hard as I did. I think it was warranted. You guys were terrible last year. That's an entire team. Let's be real. We can't forget about the disappointment that was last year's Winnipeg Jets, but I'm going to eat my words and say that I'm glad you guys are still Winnipeg Jets. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say I was wrong or nothing like that, because at the time I wasn't. But hindsight's 2020. Now they're good again, and they're playing team hockey, which is also the most important thing to me, is that I don't care about how individually you can be good, because let's be real, last year there was always individual performances that were good in games, but it didn't matter because you were losing by 2 to 3 goals. This year, you're not getting that. You're getting a lot more effective play from these guys, and that's all that matters. You look at Cole Perfetti's stats, it speaks for himself. I believe he's still second or third right now in NHL rookie scoring, so we could definitely see him getting a Calder nomination, but he has been fantastic again. This entire top line has been great. Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler are leading by example. They're teaching Perfetti the ropes, which is very important, because Perfetti is the future of that forward core with Brad Lambert and even Rutger McGroarty and all these other guys coming up in our system. But Perfetti is the big guy for the future right now when you look at our prospects. He's developing extremely well, learning the ropes, and I feel like he's also getting good leadership stuff, because he saw what Mark and Blake were last year. You know, there were rumors about the relationship with Perfetti and Wheeler and how it was getting pretty toxic. Flip that, hindsight 2020, what do you get? You get Perfetti learning from these guys, increased play, better room, better everything with the Jets right now, almost first in the league, fighting for it, first in the Central, almost first in the Western Conference. It's the best situation you could ask for. I don't know how the room was that bad with Paul Maurice, that all it took was a simple coaching flip with Rick Bowness to get these guys to play as good as they are. Because let's be real, Rick Bowness is some Hall of Fame head coach. But right now, he's looking better than anyone I've seen in my lifetime, I feel like, with how he's been able to turn around this roster that is identical almost to last year's Winnipeg Jets that were terrible and inconsistent. And now this year, inconsistency doesn't even exist in the Winnipeg Jets vocabulary. So, credit to where credit is due. But, you know, you look at the players right now, you look at the top performers right now, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Cole Perfetti stacked right on top of each other with points. You can't ask for a better consistent line right now that's leading by example, making fans eat their words like myself and thousands of others. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And credit to Rick Bowness, because Rick Bowness has absolutely turned this team around. And I can't really believe it. I can't fathom that all it took was Rick Bowness to getting Paul Maurice out of there to make Blake Wheeler and Mark Scheifele look like absolute beauties again. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you look at where they were last year compared to this year, it's night and day. They don't even look like the exact same players. Not to mention the fact that Blake Wheeler, I haven't seen Blake Wheeler look this good since probably 2017-18. I'm going to be absolutely real about that one. I'm not going to say he's going to get back-to-back 91-point seasons or anything like that at 36-37, but this is a Blake Wheeler renaissance year, and we got to appreciate it, because he's only got 2 more years left, or 1 more year left after this year. So, you know, if he chooses to leave after, that's fine, but Blake, I'm so glad you're a Jet. I'm glad you're not the captain, and I'm glad you're able to find your game again, because you deserve it. You're a good hockey player. Just clearly the stress of Paul Maurice broke that room. And I always knew Paul was a problem. I didn't realize how much of a problem he was. So the first line between Mark Scheifele, Pierre-Luc Dubois, why would I say that? I haven't even talked about him once. He's great, though. We'll be talking about him definitely tomorrow. But yeah, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Cole Perfetti, top line this year without a doubt. And I can't believe Scheifele and Wheeler on the same line is working in 2022, 2023. But hey, I'm going to embrace it. You guys should too. And yeah, I'm not going to say I'm sorry, but I kind of am. So let me know what your thoughts are on Blake Wheeler. What do you think is driving this top line to produce so well? What elements do you think it is? Because honestly, I think there's about a dozen different little elements that are going into what's driving this top line play. The lack of leadership, I would say, that's put on Blake Wheeler's shoulders is a big one. He can just play hockey now and not worry about being that guy in the room, that Paul Maurice's right-hand man that has to, lead a team that through inconsistency and bullshit, he's not doing that anymore. I think he's thriving. I think the new leadership of A's is thriving as well. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. As always, what you think the biggest element of this team's success is this year and renaissance year with some of these guys. Let me know what your favorite moment from that top line has been this season. And if you're new to this channel and you're your first time ever watching a video and you're trying to learn more about the Winnipeg Jets, like I said at the start, subscribe. We're going to be talking a lot more about this team. And trust me, you're going to be hearing a lot more about them as this season progresses because the Jets, they're a cup contender, ladies and gentlemen. So embrace it. It's good to be back on this road because it's been a long time since the Jets have played hockey like this. So embrace it, and hell, it's going to be a good ride this season. So thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, and positivity as always. Follow my links down in the description below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Great way to stay up to date with my thoughts on the Jets when I don't have time to make a video. So yeah, see you guys next one very, very soon. Go Jets, go as always. Peace, love, and positivity, and I'll see you guys in the next one.